back to another episode of BMB Sports Talk. I'm your host, Rocco Law, joined here by my co-host, Brady Hislop. How's it going, Brady?
I'm good, Rocco. How are you?
I'm good. Super Bowl 52 was nothing short of excitement. The Pats were favored to win by as much as 6, but Nick Foles proved all the haters wrong and came up big. Brady, as I said in the last episode, Nick Foles was going to come up big. He threw at least 2 touchdowns. He scored 3 touchdowns and caught one himself. How great was that game?
I mean, it was a really good game, even though my prediction the Patriots didn't win. I mean, just a great game in general.
He threw for at least 373 yards, Foles. He had 3 touchdowns and caught a touchdown as well on a huge 4th and goal conversion with 34 seconds left in the second quarter.
Rocco, did you know that Foles himself went over to Coach Doug Peterson and picked that play? I mean, crazy that he would pick that play.
It's crazy. Doug Peterson showed immense amount of trust in his quarterback. He said, I want to do this play. And he was like, for 5 seconds, he said to them, he was like, all right, we're going to do this. And on 4th and goal, with 34 seconds leading to the second quarter, they would get the ball back. Scoring right there was a big moment in that game.
I mean, Rocco, the throw really was perfect. It was right in the face mask of Foles. He just put his hands up and the ball fell right in.
Yeah, Brandon, you said it right. It was beautifully drawn up. It was a great play overall. But neither defense really made a huge stop all game, except for 1 or 2 plays. Philly didn't do a good job of holding Brady down as he threw for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns as well. He broke his own previous record from last year. He had a huge game. When the New England Patriots started one of their final drives of the night, with 2 minutes left, it was deja vu all over again, mirroring to the Pats' comeback Super Bowl win last year. Everyone who watched that game was definitely thinking this: Brady's going to tie it. But that was not the case. At their own 20-yard line, a big play by Brandon Graham on a strip sack forced Brady to fumble what would be the last hopes of the Pats tying the game. The Eagles ultimately upset the Pats and edged them 41-33. Now, I know when I was watching that game, if Graham had not strip sacked Brady and Derek Barnett came up with the recovery, they probably would have scored and would have tied it. That was definitely my big play of the game. What was yours, Brandon?
My big play of the game, like I said last week, that Brady and Gronkowski had to come up big with each other. Gronkowski did have 2 receiving touchdowns. And on that drive, Brady threw to Gronkowski 5 out of the 7 times on that drive. And one of them was a touchdown reception. And the other touchdown reception that Brady threw to Gronkowski, he just threw it up and the big boy Gronk went and caught it.
Moving on to our next topic of discussion, one of the biggest events of the year tonight will be the torch lighting ceremony to begin the 23rd Annual Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea, where 91 countries from around the world will be competing in over 15 sports and over 300 events for those gold, silver, and bronze medals. The last Winter Olympics was held just 4 years ago in Sochi, Russia. Events include ice hockey, alpine skiing, snowboarding, bobsledding, and more. Brandon, there's a lot of events to see over the span of 16 days. What are you expecting to witness during these games?
Rocco, I'm expecting to see Lindsey Vonn just do her thing. Vonn is one of 6 women ever to have won World Cup races in all 5 disciplines of alpine skiing and has won 81 world races in her career. Various injuries have caused Vonn to miss part of several seasons, including most of the 2013 season and almost all of the 2014 season.
Brandon, I'm expecting to see greatness, and one of my favorite people to see during the Winter Olympics is 2-time gold Olympic medalist Shaun White. He is the face of snowboarding and will be poised to come back from his 2014 Sochi halfpipe loss and win the gold in this year's men's halfpipe.
Rocco, you know Shaun White is one of the best snowboarders in the whole world. I mean, another gold medalist will really define his legacy as the best snowboarder in the world.
And you know, Brandon, if Shaun White wins another gold medal this year, he will become the oldest person in snowboarder history in the Winter Olympics to win a gold medal. And he's only 27.
It's crazy, Rocco. It really is. How good he really is.
Brandon, as you know, the NBA trade deadline was yesterday, and many teams made some big trades. The Lakers and the Cavs made a big trade as they traded Isaiah Thomas and Channing Frye for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. That was a huge trade for the league. With just yesterday, IT said that he wants to stay in Cleveland, but a huge win for the Lakers fans all around.
Rocco, I think that trade is good for IT because, I mean, I don't really think he looked like himself this year in Cleveland like he did last year. He was a knockdown shooter last year, and I think with the big presence of LeBron in Cleveland, he's not really himself there.
He really did it, Brandon, and you know what, after he left Boston last year, he felt a feeling of betrayal. He gave his heart and leg to that second last year in the playoffs as he went down with an injury. And you know what? I just don't think he was ever the same. You know, even this year, the Cavaliers are struggling, and they're only third in the East. They're projected to get out of the East. I'm not seeing that right now.
I mean, how are you going to go, just like Brady, how are you going to go, like, on the other side of LeBron? LeBron is one of the best basketball players ever to live, and, I mean, it's LeBron. You can't go against him.
You can't go against him, Brandon. LeBron is the GM. He is the person who oversees all the trades. He wants what he wants, and there's nothing, no one to deny him.
Rocco, the Kings, Jazz, and Cavs made a huge three-team trade. The Jazz receiving both Jay Crowder and Derrick Rose, although the Jazz do plan to waive Rose. The Kings get Amon Shumpert and Joe Johnson, two great scorers for a desperate team. And finally, the Cavs receive Rodney Hood and George Hill. Big trade in the NBA right there, Rocco. What do you think?
You know, Brandon, there again, the works of LeBron James, the GM. He wants what he wants. And you know what? During this midseason, he wanted those players, and you know, he got them. It was a time where he wanted specific players because in that team, their chemistry value went down as the season went on, and that really affected their play. They're only third in the Eastern Conference, but people are very on highly about them getting out of the East this year.
Rocco, Joe Johnson, he's been bouncing around lately. I think he's very underrated. I mean, he can really shoot the three. What do you think of Joe Johnson?
You know, Brandon, I do think he's underrated, but he's one of those players that are getting old. As they get older, their play starts to decline, and so does their value. So I don't really see much there from him.
Yeah.
With all these trades from the Cavs, including trading away Dwayne Wade, LeBron James' perennial teammate back in the Heat when he won 2 championships, it definitely looks like they are going for a total rebuild.
Rocco, I don't think LeBron is happy with all the trades that the Cavs have been making. I really do think that he's going to leave the Cavs in the summer. I feel like he can go to a big team like the Knicks. The Knicks. With him and Porzingis there, that's like a really dynamic duo. Even though Porzingis does have his torn ACL, he will be back by next season. And him and LeBron in New York, I'll take that.
Brandon, that is a bold prediction, but multiple reports coming in from that locker room say that he's not happy and he was not going to commit with the Cavs unless they made these trades at the deadline. And you know what? A New York team, that New York economy and all that, it's the biggest place, it's the mecca of basketball. And if LeBron James goes there, I'm pretty sure they could be a playoff team, but you know, Kristaps Porzingis with his torn ACL, he won't be back till next January. So that's a big hit. But I think it's very highly unlikely that he's going to New York.
LeBron would be the face of New York if he would come here. Other New York sports teams like the Yankees, they just picked up Giancarlo Stanton. Imagine the face of New York sports. Stanton, LeBron James, and Aaron Judge.
It's crazy, Brandon. It would be a much-needed championship to return to the New York Knicks. They haven't won since the 70s.
When was the last time they went to the playoffs?
It's been a long time.
It has been a long time.
It's a long time. Another trade that does not include the Cavs is another 3-team trade between the Dallas Mavericks, the Denver Nuggets, and the hometown team, New York Knicks. Knicks received a decent scorer in Emmanuel Mudiay. The Mavs land Doug McDermott, amazing three-point shooter, and the Nuggets received Devin Harris from the Mavs. What do you think about that trade, Brian?
Rocco, finally, the Knicks pick up someone half decent. Emmanuel Mudiay, a very good shooter. And LeBron, Mudiay, Porzingis could be a great team next year.
You know, Brandon, your bold predictions are really, really not going to come into light. I mean, do you really think LeBron's going to come to New York? I mean, I get it. It's the mecca of basketball. But if you're talking about reality, I really think he's going to go to Lakers.
He would be the face of one of the biggest cities in the world, Rocco.
Brandon, you know, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. New York is definitely one of the best, you know, a storied franchise. But you know what? I just don't think LeBron James, a single player, can make that team into a championship team, including ownership. Their ownership has to change. All of that ownership has to change. If they get LeBron, even if so, I don't think they're going. Brandon, it's definitely been an exciting last day of the NBA trade deadline. What do you think of the trade so far?
It has been. Some big trades coming out that I would not have thought of happening. I mean, Isaiah Thomas to the Lakers for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. That's two decent players for the Cavaliers, but I think the Lakers won on that trade. And the Knicks making a move, giving away Doug McDermott, who I thought was a decent shooter, but Mudiay, a good young player, could be a big factor. And Dwayne Wade back to the Heat. 2 rings with the Heat. the way they had, probably looking to make it more. And him and Hassan Whiteside could be a dynamic duo in Miami.
They could, Brandon. You know what? I'm pretty sure Chris Porzingis is very, very not happy right now with his torn ACL. They could have made a run for the playoffs. He was an all-star reserve. This was the first year he was elected as an all-star. And Emmanuel Mudiay, a really good, he has high potential of being a point guard, could mentor Frank Ntilikina. That could have been something special right there to make for a playoff run.
We wish the Mepham varsity cheerleading team the best of luck as they travel to the ESPN Worldwide Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida, where they will be competing against the top high schools in the entire country for a chance at the national title.
We also wish the best of luck to Mepham wrestling team, who will be competing in the Nassau County Championships tomorrow at Hofstra at 9:30 a.m.
Tonight, the Bellmore-Merrick hockey team is in the county playoffs, looking for a chance to go to states. Also tonight, we're covering the Mepham varsity senior night basketball game as they take on Great Neck South. My colleague Rocco and I are going to be sportscasting that game, and it really is going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one, Brady. You know, last game of the season, senior night for Mepham. It's going to be a great game.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at BMB Sports and on Twitter at BM Broadcasting.
This has been another exciting episode of BMB Sports Talk. I'm your host, Rocco Law, here with my co-host, Brady Hislop, and we'll see you next week when we're talking sports.